The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
But on the wall, they skimped. So I was successful in that sense, but I want to do it faster. I could do the wall over a longer period of time. I didn't need to do this, but I'd rather do it much faster.
Okay, and there you have it. Donald Trump declared on Friday a state of emergency, and he did it in order to secure funding for the border wall. And of course, we now see that we knew then, he said it at the announcement, that he didn't need to do it. Well, that just kind of contradicts the entire, or goes against the entire purpose of a state of emergency. And I mean, obviously we knew this, we know this, and the case would have been made without Donald Trump saying these things. But the fact that he said it, I mean, he's his biggest enemy. But one of the things, well, first of all, let me slow down. Hey, guys, welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Show. I know it's been over 2 months since you got an official episode. It's been almost 2 months since I've even heard that opening music. I had to dig up my old laptop and break it open in order to find my templates that had all the music and files and everything. So, but I figured I would just jump into the news, right? Enough talking about, and you know, no need for me to give a whole bunch of pretense and explanations. Here we are. Donald Trump has done this. Now, what he did in this press conference on Friday, that is the most important thing to me. Not even the fact that he's conceding on tape that he didn't have to do this. Therefore, this is not a national emergency. That's not the most important part of this. The most important part of this is the fact that he knows, because of his Supreme Court appointments, that this, while he believes he's going to lose in the Ninth Circuit, right? And they're going to appeal. He believes it's going to go all the way to the Supreme Court. And once it reaches the Supreme Court, he has a court with Gorsuch and with Kavanaugh that's going to give him a victory on this. Now, the chances are, here's the thing. Here's the only possibility for the Supreme Court not giving Donald Trump a victory here, because he's counting on it. And it's almost a good bet, with one exception, the precedent that will be set by the highest court in the land, so that then when a Democrat comes in, it's not a Democrat who has to challenge the system. It's not a Democrat who has to, prove a point. It's a Democratic president who now has the full force of a Supreme Court decision behind him or her in order to declare a state of emergency for something that is an actual state of emergency, like gun violence, like the environment, right? So there is the possibility in this that the Supreme Court would not decide in Donald Trump's favor only if they have a great fear of a coming Democratic president who would use their decision for something progressive. That's it. Outside of that consideration, there should be no expectation that the Supreme Court is this unpartisan, nonpartisan, some body that's above political influence, because they are literal political appointees. So we can't have this expectation that the Supreme Court or any of our courts are going to do things because it's in line with the Constitution. I mean, when they can give him a political victory, they're going to give him a political victory. It's just as simple as that. But the question is, are they going to stand behind this and try to give him a political victory here? The more I talk about it with you, the less I'm inclined to believe that they will, because, like I said, they do not want to have the full force of 1/3 of our governing system deciding that a president of the United States can make a decision about a national state of emergency when it's not an actual emergency. I mean, you don't even have to take Donald Trump's words. I mean, I've done an interview. I did an interview with one of the authors from thenation.com, one of the writers from thenation.com, and we went through the data showing that if there is a crisis at the border, it isn't happening now. And the data shows that it has been on a steady decline over the years. So just on the pure merits of Donald Trump's case alone, the data itself shows that there is no state of emergency. But on such a partisan issue like this, something that is so hyper partisan that the data never matters. Not really. Because this type of thing infects the Supreme Court, our judicial system all the way around the board. And I'm not going to turn this into the case of why it's so important that Donald Trump does not get another 4 years. But I mean, come on, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she's not going to make it 6 more years. You know, not as an active Supreme Court justice. She's not. And not just the Supreme Court. Donald Trump has had 85 appointments. It's critical. So I'm not going to turn this episode into that. But, I mean, you can't help but end there. When Donald Trump is able to make moves like this, and the Supreme Court and our judicial system is full of conservatives who are not just, you know, constitutional conservatives or originalists, but who are downright hyper-partisan hacks being appointed by this maniac. You know, it gives another level of power and authority to the president where there is no check and balance. I mean, you can't, you know, say what you want to about Nancy Pelosi. A lot of bad things to say about her right now, but at least we have 1/2 of 1/3 of our government with the ability and the willingness to serve as a check on the power of the President of the United States. So I've been away for a while, and been away working on the NorthStar.com. We're up. You can go to the NorthStar.com. It's not in its final version, right? But we do have some stuff out there, so you can go to the NorthStar.com and check out the work that I've been working on so diligently every day, all day. I mean, round the clock. Man, I lost all of my good habits working on this company. I've gotten more gray hairs. I've gone even more bald. I have less hairs on my head, more gray hairs in my beard, and a lot more alcohol. Anyway, but that's where I've been. So there's a lot of stories that I have not been able to cover because, like Dr. Dre said, I've been in the lab with a pen and a pad trying to get this damn label off. Well, I've been trying to get this company off the ground, and so far so good. But anyway, I'm going to try to cover as many things as I can. Starting right now, Jussie Smollett, the Jussie Smollett case, the actor from Empire who said he was attacked and they poured some kind of chemical on his face and told him, "Welcome to MAGA country," and used homophobic slurs. I've never really watched. I don't think I've seen a single episode of Empire. I've used some memes from Empire, but I've never seen an episode, never been interested in it. And when this story broke, I didn't say anything about it myself. I did some retweets, and for two reasons. Well, here's the reason that I didn't say anything myself personally, but I still retweeted other people. Number one is I've learned the value of taking my time unless there's a smoking gun. If there's a smoking gun, then let's hit the pavement. Let's go. If there's not a smoking gun, it just makes sense to take your time to get a few more facts. Now, I do firmly believe that America is still a racist nation because, hell, I had someone throw a beer at me and my wife just in 2013 as they drove by in their big old country Confederate flag waving truck and yelled out the window, "Niggers!" No, that was just in 2013. So I'm intimately aware, and not just that example, other examples, and you too, or I'm sure you have your examples of the level of racism that still exists in this country. I am also aware of the level of homophobia that's in this country. I mean, that's just the way this country is. So it's not to say that his case was unbelievable. It's just to say that I've learned the value of taking my time. Now, the reason I was retweeting people is because, you know, if other people have something to say, I like what they have to say, I'll alley-oop it. Not necessarily an endorsement. Retweet doesn't mean endorsement. I was prone to believe him, but something about the story said wait. And even now, the people who are saying that it was a hoax, the Chicago PD, I'm sorry, but I am less inclined to believe them than Jussie Smollett. I mean, think about the black sites that they had for their own type of rendition. Think about the Laquan McDonald case. Think about all the cases that they've had to settle. Think about just how much cops lie across this entire country. No offense to you if you're a police officer. But yeah, I mean, you could be offended. Even if you are, you know, love you, mean it. But the way the Chicago Police Department is set up, I have absolutely no reason to believe them. But similarly, I mean, well, not really similarly. That's not fair. But something about this case bothered me. And while I do have my own personal examples of like the perfectly encapsulated example of racism in my own personal life and homophobia that I've seen, witnessed, still something about this case told me to slow down and see. Here are the only things that I do know about this case. Two things. One I've already said. Second one I haven't. Number one, the first one I'm going to repeat. I have no reason to believe the Chicago PD any more than I believe Jussie Smollett. None whatsoever. Period. End of conversation. Sorry, Chicago, Chi-Town. You police. You just no reason to believe you. But number two, if Jussie Smollett did fake this, then he has single-handedly made it more difficult for actual victims of homophobic attacks and racism. Because there's nothing more than this white supremacist, quote-unquote, Judeo-Christian value nation wants than to be able to invalidate the concerns and the protest and the dissent of Black people, brown people, the LGBTQ community, basically any community that's marginalized, basically anyone who does not serve this white supremacist, male supremacist, Christian supremacist nation. And this is where I give the obligatory reminder that I am a Christian, but I'm a Christian who clearly sees that this is a Christian supremacist nation. And there's nothing that white male Christian supremacy wants than to be able to point and give reasons to justify ignoring our problems, invalidating our claims. And so if this brother faked this attack, he has single-handedly handed over to these people what they need to further invalidate and ignore our claims, our fight, our struggle for liberation. Now, they were going to ignore it anyway, right? But why would we hand them the ammunition that they need? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And then I am curious as to, like, if this was fake, like, how do you think you get away with something like that at this level with this much level of scrutiny? Like, you have to be a certain level of deranged or just plain out ignorant or overconfident in your abilities. It's like, it's not the smartest thing in the world to believe that you can pull off something like this. But alas, that's not as important. The important takeaway from the story is however it ends, if it ends up that this was a hoax, then Jussie Smollett, congratulations. Not only did you play yourself, but you played the Black community, you played the LGBTQ community, and you've given white supremacy, male supremacy, and Christian supremacy everything that they need to further invalidate the actual fight. All of that said, I ain't got no reason to believe the Chicago PD. There's not much that they can say that I'm going to take at face value on any day of any week.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar are radicals. They really are. They're radicals. There's really no other way to say it. And they are radicals that are openly racist and hostile towards white men. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is blatantly racist towards white men. There is no question she is racist towards white men. Cory Booker is racist towards white men. And their party they are allowing this hostility towards straight white males and taking it to the next level because they hate Trump, and Trump is a straight white male. So we're seeing this increasingly get crazy, obviously, with the Jussie Smollett case and unpacking the fact that this was an absolute hoax. One hoax among many, by the way. One hoax among many. This only got so much attention because he's a celebrity and he's an actor in a show in Hollywood, and so many people in Hollywood jumped on this. So the rise of racism, and now we're seeing Ilhan Omar, who doesn't even care. She's just like, I hate Jews, and that's what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez seems to be implying, because the two of them are the closest in their party.
Okay. That was Candace Owens, the token Negro for the Republican Party, for Donald Trump. She did a live stream, I think it was today. And I saw it, and I didn't watch the whole thing, but I knew that there was going to be something in there so ridiculous that I had to comment on. And there's a good reason to. Like, this is somewhat low-hanging fruit, but it's relevant because of the reach and the magnitude, the structure of the conservative echo chamber, and how they are able to elevate people who are this ignorant. I mean, and just at face value, right? What does it say to you that a woman who last week was talking about the only problem with Hitler was that he had international aspirations, and that he wanted to expand his empire outside of the borders of Germany, never mind the Holocaust that occurred within the borders? I mean, she literally spoke out favorably of Adolf Hitler, now turning the Ilhan Omar issue into Representative Omar being anti-Semitic and I hate Jews and I hate Jews. We can forget the ridiculousness of her hyperbole and really slander. I mean, like, just outright lying on Ocasio-Cortez and Omar. We can forget about that, because I mean, that's what conservatism does. But the gall of a person who literally defended Adolf Hitler, twisting the words of someone who attacked AIPAC. We didn't talk about this last week because I haven't had a show in 2 months. But listen, attacking AIPAC as having undue influence along the lines of the NRA, a lobbying arm, a lobbying company, a lobbying organization, however you want to identify it, that has its grip on our political system, just like the NRA. Criticizing AIPAC is no more anti-Semitic than criticizing the NRA. And there's plenty of people who've gone over this. There's plenty of ways to break it down. Could Ilhan Omar have been clearer in her tweet? Yes, it really was not an elegant tweet whatsoever. And you know, if we're going to critique it from the perspective of communications, and, you know, it just was not worth the headache that it caused, especially because she had to backtrack and apologize. But there's so many legitimate criticisms of AIPAC that need to be given, that are given by Jewish people all the time, but let a black Muslim say it, and she becomes the quintessential example of anti-Semitism. But the choking irony of a woman, a black woman, Candace Owens, who last week was defending Hitler, saying that Omar, who criticized a lobbying organization, is a true anti-Semite. That is the and if we actually broke down what AIPAC really does, who it really represents, the fact that it has way less to do with the Jewish faith, with the Jewish people as a collective body of people, and Judaism as a faith, and has way more to do with the American military industrial complex, has way more to do with the defense contractors that benefit from their lobbying arm, way more to do with the right-wing government of Israel and not the people or the faith of Judaism. It's like saying, it's so many ways that this has been a problem for a long time, that a criticism of the actions of the right-wing government of Benjamin Netanyahu is instantly morphed into something that is anti-Semitic. And no, Ilhan Omar did not help the situation because she didn't properly navigate the minefield that she knows, and I know, and all of us know is waiting for you there once you begin to criticize the actions of the government of Israel. But this segment is not about her, because we know that that's what's done, unless you articulate it in a way. Even if you do, let me be even fairer to Representative Omar, because even if she had very tastefully, very fastidiously articulated her positions and her critique of AIPAC, they still would have attacked her as anti-Semitic. But it's a brilliant in a very nefarious way. It's a brilliant thing that right-wingers are able to do, in that they simultaneously embrace the far-right fascistic tendencies and outright embrace of Nazism, while simultaneously being able to label someone else as anti-Semitic. It's a game that right-wingers, right-wing Christian organizations and representatives and spokespeople have been able to do for years. I mean, really, really think about it. If even if the Democratic Party is in bed with that defense contractor, that military industrial complex peddling organization, lobbying organization by the name of AIPAC, so much more is the Republican Party. And yet, the far-right fascism that is breeding in this country, it's breeding and brooding in right-wing circles. And yet, they have the ability to fly under the radar, the anti-Semitism radar, because of their outward support for the right-wing government of Israel. I mean, there's another layer to it that I don't want to try to navigate by myself. I'll call my friend Professor Sinkowitz, and we'll talk about the religious aspect of it, right? The unexpected, what is it? The unholy alliance that you find I guess I am talking about it now. The willingness of people like Benjamin Netanyahu to be in bed with someone like Donald Trump, when Donald Trump represents the rise, the resurgence in terms of the reach and the height that neo-fascism and Nazism is sitting in the White House. Literally. And yet there's an unholy alliance they're fully aware of what Donald Trump represents, what the right wing in the United States represents, what the right wing really believes about what's going to happen to Israel. There's a full understanding of, it's not like they don't know what evangelicals and far-right Christians believe is going to happen to Israel when Jesus comes back. It's not like they don't know that. It's that they're, they don't believe Jesus is coming back. It's that simple. And so because of that, they're able to get what they need, they being the government of Israel, the right-wing government of Israel, because this is something Katie Halper said on Fox News. Like, it gets extremely tiresome because you have a lobbying arm here in the United States that purports to represent all Jews. And then you have the government of Israel, the right-wing government of Israel, that also purports to speak on behalf and represent all Jews, when in actuality, they are as far removed from them as any left-winger would be from right-wingers here in the United States. It's politics. It's politics. It's not religion. It's not even the representative, the divide. And anyway, I'm not equipped to speak about all of that as passionately and accurately as I would be able to have a conversation. But coming full circle, it's like it just shows you this balancing act that right wingers here in the United States are able to play with their actual factual fascism, and then have the unmitigated gall to call someone who critiques the influence of a lobbying organization and call them anti-Semitic. And it's in that space, it's in that ability, in their ability to pull off that trick. Yeah, for my next trick, right? They're able to do that over and over again. It's in that space, it's in that ability that speaks to the power of right-wing propaganda and right-wing media, and how effective their agenda has been and continues to be, because they pound these messages relentlessly to the point where it is no longer, you don't even ask. Everybody assumes that it's the right wing of the United States that's actually the people who love the Jewish people and the Jewish faith, when in actuality, what they love is the far right wing government. But with effective propaganda, with effective messaging, staying on point, and the willingness of the right-wing government of Israel, particularly now Benjamin Netanyahu, to have this unholy alliance with people who, quite frankly, believe that Israel is going to be destroyed, and they're actually counting on it. Evangelicals are counting on it, right? It's not unbelievable, but it's extremely, extremely infuriating, because on so many levels, in so many ways, we're losing. We're losing. And it might be an oversimplification, and maybe I'm just being hyper dramatic. But when a woman who last week can defend Hitler can turn around and this week and call Representative Omar anti-Semitic without missing a beat, we really need to talk about our messaging on our side of the equation, because we're losing some messaging battles here. So you got to be careful. You have to be careful who you hang out with. Shout out to Malia Obama. This is all I'm going to say about this, because it's been a couple of occasions that she's just trying to live her life as a young, I think she's 20 now. She's just trying to live her life as a 20-year-old. And somebody got a picture of her holding a bottle of rosé. And she's 20, she's not 21. So now it's all over the news. I promise you, I'm not even going to give 3 minutes to this. I just really only wanted to cover this story for two reasons. Number one, raise your hand if you did most of your drinking before you even turned 21. I mean, they might as well make the drinking age 18 in this country, because all of the alcohol I drank before I turned 21, I mean, good Lord. Like, it literally should not be a big deal in terms of our society, in terms of American society. Of course, it's going to be a big deal because it's political, and they're going to try to, hold that and say something about her character, and then imbue that into the character of former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. That's the whole purpose. But, outside of the political realm, if you didn't drink before you're 21, then you probably aren't drinking at all, right? You're probably just a person who just doesn't drink, which is totally cool, right? The second thing is, you got to be careful who you party with, man, because everybody's not out there for you. And this is not really political commentary as much as just life commentary. Because not everybody you party with is actually for you. Not all your peoples are really your peoples, man. Some people will gladly sell you out. And this is the second occasion. I think the first one when she was smoking at Lollapalooza or something, smoking some weed, and it was all of a sudden a big deal. You know, whatever. I said I'm not going to do more than 3 minutes. Okay, so let me do a hard shift here. Actually, no, that's my time. Didn't even realize I was over my time. I'm going to try to get back to you guys tomorrow and do my thing as the Benjamin Dixon Show podcast. So no promises, only because I haven't been able to keep my promises. Like, you know, it takes a lot of energy. There's so many things I would love to tell you guys about what building this company has been like. The ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, the painful, the stressful, but the rewarding. So that's, you know, that's what I've been doing with my life right now. And part of my life is this and needing to do this. So here it is. So I don't know if I can see you tomorrow, but if I can, it will be a good surprise for me too, because this was very cathartic. All right, everyone, take care. Have a great day.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.